Welcome back. Time is almost 8:15. A busy day for the Supreme Court Thursday with several key rulings. The court voting in favor of two of President Trump's immigration decisions. The first would allow the Trump administration to turn away asylum seekers at the U.S.-Mexico border before they enter the country. Another allowed the administration to end TPS protections, that's temporary status protections, for about 354,000 Haitians and Syrians and limited court review of those decisions.
Justice has also ruled in favor of making it easier to place returning green card holders into deportation proceedings over certain criminal allegations.
All right, joining us now, our chief legal analyst, Khalif Rhodes. Khalif, let's start with the TPS protections. We've talked about this for the Haitians and Syrians. If you have one of those people as a client and you're an immigration attorney, what are you telling them as far as what they need to do now?
Well, according to the Trump administration, I should say that they should be prepared to be deported. And according to the court, what the court said, and this was interesting, it says that the court ruled that federal court, so this is the court telling that other courts can't generally review the government's decision to terminate TPS status. It's rare that the court is saying that a court can't make a decision when you're talking about constitutionality of something that's happening. And so what I would tell these folks is that accordingly right now, the 330,000 Haitians and the 4,000 Syrians that are here under that temporary protected status, folks that are seeking refugee and some type of protection because if they go back home, they could ultimately die. We'll probably have to go back home at some point in the near future.
But when we're still talking about TPS here, the court says that judges can't review these decisions. Is that unfair?
No, I don't know if it's unfair, but it's unprecedented for the court to say that if we have three co-equal branches of government, and we are supposedly having that, and one makes a decision, right? The executive is attempting to enforce. The legislative has now created these rules or laws, and now the executive has enforced them, which they're attempting to do here. At some point, a person will challenge that, and the means to challenge that won't be to go to the executive. It would typically be to go to court and say, hey, judge, what they done right? Is that legal? Is it constitutional? And then the court would render some decision. It would typically be in the pattern of saying, hey, question presented. Can the executive branch do this? For the court to not say yes or no, but to say that we can't even review these things is typically unprecedented. So yes, it's normal for courts to review these types of matters. It's not normal for the court to say we can't because of the way that the law was reviewed, because what they could have said was, yes, Congress has identified a process and a procedure for how these matters are reviewed, and the court is under the impression that yes, they're constitutional or they're not. But I won't say punt, but to say that the court can't review it means that people in these statuses, in this status, would be going home instantly.
Khalif, on the decision to be able to turn away asylum seekers at the border, essentially you're going to be giving this, I guess, power to Border Patrol as people come over. Legally, can you entrust the officers to make that legal decision whether somebody is worthy of asylum or not?
Yeah, and I think that is something that has been historically been able to do. It's not the issue that is happening there. This was something implemented during the Obama administration. It's not that it's occurring. It's that it's been expanded. The rationale for why the removal, why the denial can happen has been expanded. And the amount of people that have been stopped there has been expanded. That has been the issue. The discretion that individual has been expanded. Not the fact that they can do it, but how they're doing it and how many. I want to say this too before we leave. It's extremely important to look at these dissents. Justice Sotomayor is making sure that she leaves her mark in history. Because listen, it was 6-3 with a lot of these, right across ideological lines. She read her full dissent. And yesterday there was a back and forth. While she was reading, Justice Alito closed his hands, looked to the ceiling, out of frustration, rocking back and forth. When she was done talking, Alito said, well, if I knew she was going to read her whole dissent, I would have added more in my opinion so that I could have had more support for what I was saying. You don't normally see that back and forth, but that's where we're at right now. And it's Grand Canyon-size split between the parties that are sitting on that bench right now, and those folks are in different islands, not even on the same continent.
Well, we know we got more decisions apparently going to be released Monday, so we'll have to see where some of those fall as well. Khalif, thanks. Appreciate it.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.